and get on the record right quick because Druski did a skit portraying British actors who come to America and play roles that are American characters, Black American characters, and become catapulted into the public mainstream and globally, apparently. What is not being posed in this conversation, because I had I'm oftentimes confronted with people who, when they rebuff the conversation about British, British Afro and Caribbean descendants coming to America and taking, or not taking, being auditioning and giving these jobs in America. The rebuttal is often, well, Black Americans have played other people from other places in the world. But Denzel, I believe, played Biko. Morgan Freeman played Mandela. If I'm not mistaken, Mandela asked for Morgan Freeman to play Mandela. And he said because he felt like Morgan looked like him. But anyway, Don Cheadle played in Hotel Rwanda. Forrest Whitaker played Idi Amin. Lawrence Fishburne played Mandela. Jennifer Hudson played Winnie Mandela. All of these instances where people play Black Americans have played international characters. But in that rebuttal, what is not being framed is Black Americans are not going to South Africa. Black Americans are not going to these various places abroad and auditioning at an entry level way to make it into these markets. What is occurring here, and the reverse, when Druski plays this skit about the actors coming to America and then playing these roles based on American characters, what Druski is showing is they are coming into a different market and they are auditioning. And it's almost like going, you are an engineer in your local market and you go abroad to be an engineer. If the positions for being an engineer are small in that market and you've left a market where positions you feel are small there, you are just leaving one market, competing market, to go to another competing market. And for whatever reason, the domestic market is overlooking its domestic talent and going and looking for other talent. Now, most often in those cases, they're looking for other talent abroad because it's lower wages or they're willing to do more work that people don't perceive as rights when a domestic population may have rights per se. When I look at the actors abroad, what is not being acknowledged is the production. Y'all, they are leaving their domestic industry market to compete with another market. But they perceive that market to be a grander market when in actuality, the totality of the market is limited. So, on top of that, what they don't address is that for the limited spaces that is, or that Britain have for their actors, particularly quote unquote Black British actors, those spaces that are available in America for Black actors in general are based on the efforts, the work, the politics, and the protests and the fight of a local population who made those opportunities for the Black population domestically. Now, that same fight is available to those abroad. It seems though, when people leave their local market of competition to set their eyes on different markets of competition, they've given up the ghost. They've abandoned what may be a struggle to open up more opportunities for those who may come behind them in the place that they are from, to go to other pastures, to take advantage of opportunities that were amassed by people who did the groundwork that they left. And that's where I feel like people aren't addressing. If you're going to leave where you're from to go to get the acting jobs and say that it's because this market has more opportunities than this market and it's but so far I can go in this market, why not create the opportunities in that? It's like you're abandoning the children of your local market to just get your own opportunities abroad. And I'm not saying that all these actors aren't talented. Here's another thing that is overemphasized with British actors, that they are trained. And I feel like, yes, they are trained, highly trained. And also, Black American actors are highly trained. Though there are the musicians that do the triple threat, the vaudevillian, if you will, skill of being a singer, pop star, actor, and all of that, dancer, what ends up happening is there also are the Juilliard trade. Viola Davis went to Juilliard. Nicole Bahari went to Juilliard. Danielle Brooks went to Juilliard. There's a lot of actors. Taraji went to Howard. Felicia Rashad went to Howard. Debbie Allen went to Howard. Chadwick Boseman went to Howard. These are trained actors and actresses. These aren't frivolous. I just woke up one day and walked into a theater and somebody say, "Hey nigga, you can get on this stage," and I just knocked it out the park. That is not how that goes for Black Americans. And I believe people perceive Black Americans to roll out of bed and enter a room and then just do things for frivolity and, oh, if a nigga could do it, I could do it too. And then discount the work that was put into what they saw was manifested. Discount the work of the opportunities that were given to the next generation. And when it comes to the British actors, I feel like they discounting the work. They discounting the work. Y'all can do the work abroad. Y'all abandon the actors that's coming behind you. When you leave the market, you are in a Western market. This is why it don't make sense like they try to make it make sense. Because you are in a Western market in a time of Western supremacy, and you're abandoning one Western market to go to another Western market to become an actor, which in that Western market, it's not like you're in a dictatorship. That Western market projects as if it facilitates protest and it facilitates debate and opinion and et cetera, et cetera. So if that is the case, you have the framework in which to organize to create more opportunities, acting opportunities in that market. So then the Black Americans can just run the your market and do the same. But that is not what is happening. It's not a one-to-one equivalency as if everybody's trying to make it out to be. These are American productions that are creating more work than they have to by taking time out of their schedule to train a person to speak like the people who live in the market that they are producing it. And you're overlooking millions of people in that market and the talent in that market to So now the question doesn't, it really doesn't seem as it's just based on training. It would seem that there's more things that are going into the choosing of these British actors. The British actors need to fight at home as well. I really feel like that. There should be just as much as there's a Hattie McDaniels for us in America, that just as much as there's a Cicely Tyson, it just as much as there's Ruby D and Alina Horn, all these people, Ozzy Davis, all these people who stayed here and fought and got called all kinds of names, got dehumanized, got railroaded, got FBI and CIA watching them just for their efforts to try to act at home, which created opportunities for future generations in this nation and thusly opportunities for British actors. And if that could be amassed here in the United States, why can that be amassed with the generations that are more informed in this technology era with information abound to show you how to organize and improve upon what was done before you in another nation and utilize your knowledge of your local politics to move the needle and create more opportunity. What it look like is y'all abandoning the kids in London. Y'all abandoning the kids in Manchester. Y'all abandoning the kids who really dream of aspiring. But what their aspiration is to leave where they're at again and come to America to take opportunity, not take, I'm not going to say take, to get advantage of opportunities that were once amassed by previous generations who are the family members of the people who exist in this nation already. And I think that is discounted the most. I think that's not what is discussed when we're discussing the British actors, I think it's a superficial conversation that people are having because egos are involved and the egos inform the argument and it's a superficial argument. The argument isn't who's the better trained. We know this is America. Y'all talk about our main character syndrome and how we think we're so great. You don't think we think it's somebody here in this nation that's great enough to play that role? That's not the case. Who's trained enough to play that role? That's not, somebody knows that somebody here exists in this nation. What is happening is we're not taking it past the ego and oh, he's trained, he can act better, he could do, no, that's not the conversation. The conversation is the pitting of markets against markets in an effort to divert the attention of both markets to open up more opportunities in both markets. If there's so many bars and barriers into the British acting industry for Black and Afro and Caribbean descendants in the UK. Why won't somebody go, you know what? I think I'm going to knock down some bars today. I think I want to be great today. I think where I stay, I should be able to work. I think I don't have to leave and jump all the way. If this industry exists in this nation, I can see if that industry did not exist in that nation. But here's another layer to the conversation that nobody's having too. I rarely have ever, if I've ever seen Black Americans go to like Nigeria or South Africa or Botswana or all these places and audition as an entry level actor and go through rounds and rounds of audition as a no name person in that market and then get to play a local or a character based on a local in that market. It's not common if it does exist. I've never seen it. So because That isn't the case. It's not, again, it's a false equivalency to say the same Black Americans auditioning for Black American roles in American productions is the same as a British or Black British person coming into America auditioning for roles in America. That's not the same because, or not even Britain. I've seen Nigerians come into American markets, Sudanese come into American markets and audition. I hear about a movie called The Long Walk or something, where they're saying that these people are based on Baton Rouge characters, but they're played by people of no connection to the land at all. But that's what I'm saying. It's a false equivalency. These people we never know. We don't. They're not Angela Bassett. They're not Denzel Washington. They're not Will Smith. They're not box office break. They're entry level in our awareness. So even in that equivalency, only time I have a degree in business, only time you go out your way, out your market to get labor out of your market is if you want to treat them away because they are unaware or have them do things that you know your local market won't do, or pay them a wage that your local market will not accept or is beneath your local market's law. That is the conversation nobody's having. That's the competition that capitalism is not allowing to be had. They having the surface shit, the ego shit, the I'm the better trained. We can do it better than you and you and you and not. It's no. It's we are looking at capitalism pit talent against one another instead of the talent realizing the market needs to be opened up in all the areas where that industry exists. And that's all I wanted to say about the Druski video, because I felt as though everybody's having the wrong conversation. It's markets. The conversation is about marketing and capitalism. You don't think capital understands what it's doing? In film industry, entertainment industry is a wing of government. It's propaganda. It's to inform people what is normal through art and all of these things. When money is involved in art, please believe there's interest involved. And because interest is involved, that is not purely based on the art itself, it's going to disrupt what we really are talking about. It's not what the art itself is not the thing. Yes, they can put on an accent. I'm sure everybody all over the world can find a population of people who can put on a population of other people's accent at the drop of a hat. I'm sure that's not the conversation. The conversation they are distracting us from is, why aren't the Brits fighting for more opportunities in their industry domestically? Why aren't Black Americans having more control over their image domestically? Why aren't these various industries domestically having more of a say and expansion of opportunities to their local talents? Why? Why does it have to be putting whole nations' markets of talents against each other? That does not equate for imperial powers. It sounds scarce like. For an imperial power that stumps around the world consuming everybody's resources, that doesn't make sense. The conversation isn't making sense, guys. But I understand We get pump fake because power wants us to be distracted by ego and triviality and less about what they doing with our resources and with our energy and with our talents and with our being. And a lot of it is we discount our being, like our actual bodies, in the resource of the thing. And to the ethos, Druski did that. I think he has an ear to the social media streets, this production level. I hear this a lot. I've been hearing this too. Everybody who watched it, like, dang, who is in put money behind his production? That's what I want to know too. Is that Druski money? I don't want a pocket watch, but it's like with a advanced way he's putting out these skits now. We can't even call these skits. These feel like trailers. But I appreciate his talents. He's improving. It almost make me want to clue into what he got going next. Because I don't be watching skits like that. But the last two skits Drewski done, he's done hit. He's done hit the pulse of the nerve of a nation. And it seems that he's being a sociologist, if you will. He's seeing how humanity moves. And I've watched a couple of his skits outside of the Erica Kirk one and this latest British one. I've watched one where he went to a NASCAR race and another one, I forget, the preacher one. He has an ability to observe and soak it in, the normalized behaviors of those cultural, subcultural activities in those ways. And I appreciate that from Druski. He should, I can't wait to see him in other stuff. He might need to put his own production together and make his own movies if this is what his skits look like. Because if he could do this with a skit, draw it out to 90 minutes into the ethos, tell the future, I said so.